Right, Sport, Sport Plus. Okay, and that's 60. Right, well that's relatively rapid. Okay, we can maybe live with this. There are so many buttons on this car. It is eons ahead. This thing is absolutely loaded. Mega spec. We like mega spec, don't we? Mega spec's good.
Proud to be sponsored by Diamond Bright, the car care products that have been keeping the furious fleet looking their best for a long time already. To find all you need to keep your car clean and protected, follow the link below to diamondbright.co.uk.
Well, this is it. This is the last time I'm pulling onto the M20 in this, my trusty 2010 Mercedes S204 C250D AMG Sport, which has been absolutely brilliant. And why is it the last time? It's because I'm selling it today, because I'm buying a new car, which normally would have me absolutely jumping for joy, because I love buying a new car. That's the best day of all. But I don't want to buy a new car. I don't like this one. So why am I getting rid of it when I don't want to? Well, I'll tell you. Now, as you know, I have got a couple of cars, and a lot of them are silly and many of them are broken. But at the back of that collection, there has always been this thing, the 204, which just does all the daily grunt work. It's a big family car, so I can put everything for a 2-week family holiday in the boot if I want to. I can drive up and down the country, I can drive it through Europe. It's 100% reliable and it's economical. It's like the Volkswagen Beetle that follows the Top Gear challenges. It's the car that gets there without fuss every time. It may not be as dramatic or as exciting to go on a drive in it, but the fact is it'll get you there with air-conditioned comfort. Anyway, there's only 2 little problems with this car. My son seems to get car sick in it, but wearing little bands, which are a bit irritating, do seem to solve that. I'm pretty sure it's psychological and it's not a reason to sell a car. But more importantly, ULEZ. ULEZ. I don't live in the ULEZ zone, but I live close enough that I go there quite a lot, because it used to be just a little thing in the middle of London which didn't bother me, because I never drive in London anyway, because that's a waste of everyone's time. Don't go into London. If you're going to go into London, drive to the outskirts and get the tube in. That's the only sensible way to do it. Unfortunately, they've now moved the ULEZ zone out to include all the car parks I might use to get a tube into London. So it's now costing me a minimum £12.50 extra every time I drive into greater outer London. Not even to what I would consider London. What I would consider parts of Kent and Surrey are now within the ULEZ, and they're threatening to increase it even further later this year or next year, which is just inhumanly cruel on people who can't afford a new car, especially at the moment. So anyway, I've been ignoring this problem for as long as I possibly can, but it's finally got to the point where I'm spending enough a month on ULEZ fees that it's becoming noticeable. And then the other day I drove to Birmingham, came off the motorway, and within a minute I was driving into Birmingham's ULEZ zone, and there's other ones in the West Country and up north and places I'm going to find. So despite the fact this car is 100% working in perfect order, full service history, economical, all the rest of it, I can't keep it because it's going to cost me an absolute fortune. So we've got to go and find ourselves something that is ULEZ compatible, which is a massive blow. I think it's okay, fair enough, it reduces the emissions in the local area, but globally it means I've got to replace a car that is completely fine, which I do kind of think is wasteful. But I don't do PCP, I refuse to do that, so I'm limited to cars I can buy with an ordinary loan, because I want to be in a position where if things turn south or whatever, change my mind, I can just sell the car, pay off the loan and walk away. So that does limit my choice, but I think I found something I like, I think. Will I like it as much as this? I don't know. But anyway, it's in Redditch and I'm in Kent. And that's about 150 miles away still at the moment. So yeah, it's going to be a couple of hours. I'm hoping the rail strikes today aren't going to be a major issue. I had been thinking I would sell this car privately and get a train up to collect it. Lucky I didn't go that route because there aren't any trains today. So that would have really scuppered me quite badly. But in the end, I didn't want to deal with putting an advert up and then dealing with tyre kickers and time wasters, and you know, might have got a couple of £100 more. But in the end, the dealer managed to do a pretty good Part X deal for me, sight unseen. So thanks to him. And yeah, well, I'm going to get myself comfortable, put on some Audible. I'm currently sitting on a Diamond Bright buffing buddy, which is an extra thick microfiber, because I had a last minute pang of conscience this morning and decided I would clean up the tea spill on this driver's seat, and that didn't really think that one through because now I've got a big wet patch, so hopefully that will dry before I get there and they won't think I've had an accident. Oh well, right, I'll see you in Redditch and say bye. 204, you have been absolutely amazing. I was surprised. So, mystery reveal. I've gone from a Mercedes C250 AMG to a Mercedes AMG C250. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's take a look around at what we've got now. But this one's 4MATIC. It's an all-wheel drive C-Class estate. I didn't even know this was a thing until a week ago. So like the previous car, it's the 2.1 litre diesel, but this time it's got AdBlue and a different map. So this one, not ULEZ compliant. This one, same engine, ULEZ compliant. Who knew? Now looking at these cars, you can see a very, very clear evolution of the two. Mine looks a bit sad right now because it's got the 17-inch wheels. My 19-inch Summers never went back on because I needed new front white tyres on it, which I never got around to buying, luckily. This has got the 19s on it. You can see the creases and things do look kind of similar. I actually prefer the more angular look of the W204, and it's interesting, this satin metal has already done the same thing 7 years younger. The same patchiness that this has got on it. It just seems to do it. Anyway, let's have a look at the interior. So lots of nice stuff. It's definitely an upgrade on the previous car. It's things I started looking for in the adverts were the wood, the memory seats, the leather, the glass panoramic roof. There's something missing. This is an issue. I couldn't find all the spec I wanted on a manual car. I instantly regret my decision. I'm not sure I'm going to like this. It's a lovely car, but I'm actually worried I'm going to hate the thing I've just done. Could be a problem. I'll talk you through the decision-making process when we get on the road in a moment. It's a long way home. Would you look at that? Oh, that is so cool. Since I found this car, or I discovered that these things existed, I was so excited about the prospect of the mega spec C-Class, all the toys and all-wheel drive. I love an all-wheel drive estate. It's kind of my ultimate car in a way. So knowing that these things were out there, it had to be the thing that I was gonna find. And I kind of managed to put the lack of a gearbox that I like driving with to the back of my mind and kind of make peace with it, because the Crown Victoria is automatic and I'll accept the Crown Vic as an auto because that's all they come as. So, you know, maybe I can live with this. So I've now driven far enough to get coffee and some diesel and make a decision. I instantly regret the choice to go for an automatic. I think I've made a bad decision. I know everyone in the comments always says, oh, you're going to love that. It's so much easier and so much more fun. Honestly, I was a little bit bored the last, 4 miles, and I've got another 170 to go. So at least it's motorway, so I haven't really noticed that. While I wait for my coffee to cool down, I'll walk around the interior of this thing, and this really is why I bought this car. Well, there's two reasons really: what's under the skin and what's in the cabin. Because once I realised that anything I was going to buy, because it's ULEZ compatible, is suddenly pushing it into another level of pricing. If you want it as a modern daily that can do absolutely everything, suddenly I thought, well, I don't want the hair shirt. I want something a bit nice and comfy. So we have got leather, although it is Artico leather, which means it's vegan friendly. Let's call it that, vegan friendly leather. We've got the wood, which is really hard to find. Not all the cars seem to have that. Most of them go for the plastic piano black stuff, which I really am not a fan of. I was not prepared to have the plastic piano black at all. It's got the larger screen, which means it's also got DAB radio, nav that actually works, and you can put all the characters of the postcode in, which is a huge upgrade on what I had previously, because honestly, it didn't work. We've got far better integration between the phone and the radio than before. It's not got CarPlay, unfortunately, but we have got proper Bluetooth integration, so I can play music and stuff off the phone without having to use an FM transmitter like I was previously. Got cruise control, which I didn't have previously. And who on earth specs a C250 without cruise control? I don't know. But yeah, we've also got the Burmester sound, which is the upgraded audio, far more impressive sound than previously. Heated seats, memory seats, these are all the good things I really do want to get. We've got the panoramic roof. I'm trying to work out how I can open the glass but have that panel pushed forward. Don't know if you can have both at the same time or not. I'll try and figure this out. The manual is quite thick. And of course we've got the big boot. Lots of stuff to make it comfortable and nice in this car. Right, back on the road again. I hate the little delay when you push the accelerator on an automatic.
Now turn left onto A46 towards Stratford.
So before you can start thinking I'm suddenly Mr. Moneybags and I'm chucking cash left, right and centre, this isn't as expensive as it may look. A good way to look baller is to buy a used premium car that's a few years old. And don't forget, my previous car, the grey one I've just part exchanged, that car was 12 years old now. It doesn't really look it, not to me, to my eyes, it still looked really modern and current. But they stopped making those in 2014, I think, 2015. So yeah, you can even buy one for the last 7 years. This car is 7 years newer, but it's still 5 years old. So, you know, I've not gone all out and spent an absolute fortune. So when I realised I needed to buy something that was ULEZ compatible, I went onto Auto Trader and you put in your criteria of what you want. I don't want an SUV, don't like them. Really need an estate car, because when I'm going to work with absolutely everything, it does take the full boot of an estate car, and I need it to also be covered up in the back to be insured. So yeah, I looked at a variety of things. I was really keen on getting a Vauxhall Ampera, which is kind of the perfect compromise between petrol, old world, electric, new world, because it's a 50-mile battery and then 300 miles or so on petrol just as a generator motor. It's brilliant. What a solution. You can pick them up for about £12,000 or so, give or take. Unfortunately, when I actually looked into it really seriously, and I did look really seriously, I was on the verge of flying to Glasgow to pick one up. It turns out the boot is only as big as a Polo's, which is about a third of the space I need. When we go on the family holiday, which is why we also need a big estate car, my wife wants to take her paddleboard. That won't even fit in the back of an Ampera, so the dog cage won't fit in it either, it turns out, so it's just a no-go. Which left me with very few choices. But the thing is though, when you hit the ULEZ button on the estate selection, not that many come up. It shrinks your field of options radically. Didn't want a 3 Series. Mondeos have got very expensive for anything that's modern enough to be ULEZ. I kind of found that the search was pushing me into cars that were either only a year or so newer than the car I was getting rid of, or a lot less nice. And if you're going to finance something, because I don't do PCP, but I will do a car loan, like a bank loan for a car, because I don't have that 10 grand knocking around the house, believe it or not. Can I get past this truck? Yes, it'll kick down eventually. Oh, I hate automatics. Oh, I shouldn't have done this. What was I saying? Oh yeah, PCP. I refuse to do PCP. But although I'd only lease an electric car, the cost per month is just too high. They need to be double the range and half the price before I'm going to be jumping into anything electric. I wasn't stung, I wasn't put off massively by the Renault Zoe van experience. I quite enjoyed aspects of it. But the fact was, I couldn't use it every single day. There were days when the diesel estate had to come out to play because I wasn't going to be able to make the journey on electric in the time allowed. Or it was just going to be too much hassle. But anyway, it came down to a choice of 3 in the end. Mazda 6, which I really like the exterior of, but I wasn't mad keen on the interior, being a bit plasticky. And then Joseph from Lloyd's Vehicle Consulting, he sources cars for a living, but he warned me that the Mazda diesels have a habit of going bang. So that one got crossed off. Then there was a Volvo V70, which I was very tempted by, but they really hang on to their value a lot. So again, I've been pushed into cars that were stratospheric mileage or very old. If I'm paying a monthly fee for something, I'd like it to be in a better position than when I walked away from having no car payment at all for the last couple of years. So I'm not looking forward to making a car payment again. So really, it boiled down to either a V70 or another C-Class. Now my son said he got car sick a lot in the old one, so we found the nearest one to home and went and sat in it. And it wasn't one I wanted because it was way more expensive than I can afford. It was automatic. And yeah, so that was that. But we sat in it anyway. He loved it. He felt fine in the thing. That was great. But with that car though, I discovered they do a 4MATIC. They do a 4-wheel drive version of the C-Class. I never knew that even existed. So suddenly my criteria changed. I had been looking at C220 manuals because I couldn't find any C250 manuals. They exist, but they're rare as hen's teeth. But whenever I found a manual in the 205 shape, it had been spec'd to hair shirt misery levels. No good toys whatsoever. It seems like anyone ordering the manual cars from new is just doing it with 0 spec, mega budget or something, I don't know. So having seen that car and realised that I wanted the Burmester sound, and the wood was so much nicer than the horrible plastic, and the panoramic roof is a nice upgrade, and I really wanted the four-wheel drive because I had four-wheel drive on an Alpha 159 and it was a really different driving experience, which I rather liked. I started looking for them, but you can only get them with the compromise, and for me it really is a massive compromise of the Gifformatic gearbox. Joseph tells me this 8-speed is fantastic. I'll take his word for it, he knows. But I'm a couple of miles in and already it's... So we'll see how we go. Everyone on Twitter, when I asked the question, should I choose to an automatic, a few people said, if you don't like it, stick to your guns, don't buy one, you're going to hate it, which I think might be the case. And lots of people go, no, it's fantastic, I bought one, it's the best thing I ever did. Already I feel it's the worst thing I've ever done. But because it's not PCP, if I absolutely hate this, I can get out of it with a level of ease. I can sell it and pay off most of the loan and get something else. So this car has got 95,000 miles on it, which you might think is an alarm bell ringingly high for a car that's only 5 years old. However, my car got 140,000 on it, 138,000 I think, just under, when I parked it up at the dealership, and it was still feeling extremely good. So having decided that this is the thing to go for, I cast a nationwide net. I was setting my search to national, and until eventually I found this one, which ticked all the boxes apart from flappy paddle, silly gearbox. Never mind. We'll see how we get on. We'll see if we like it or not. When it came to the paperwork stage, I had a bit of great news and a bit of disastrous news. Rung up the insurance company, I'm with Lancaster now, and they said to convert this car over, it was only another £19, which is amazing. So, you know, 7 years newer, a few £1,000s more. Actually, I'll mention that quickly. I had thought my old W204 was worth about £5,000 or £6,000. Guess what not being ULEZ compliant does to the value of your car? Whoa! It stamps on it and then spits on the ashes. It's horrible. It's worth about £3,000 less when you part exchange it. But so yeah, good news on the insurance front. However, when I checked this car on Auto Trader and similar cars on Auto Trader, it was coming up as £165 a year to tax. Now initially, for the first 4 years, it should be more because it's over 40,000 when it's brand new. It goes down a lot, trust me on that. However, the DVLA still seemed to think that this is £540 a year to tax, even though it's 5 years old. I thought it was a 4-year thing. I'm going to have to make a phone call about that because I'd budgeted to be paying around £15 a month to tax this thing. It set my direct debit at £49 a month, which is for the next, I think, 9 months, which is, no, that's just, no, that's not right. So I need to ring them because I'm sure that's a clerical error. Right, we've driven a few miles from the dealer, so I can have a proper look around and talk more freely. So inside the car, it is fantastic. When I started looking for this thing, basically what I wanted was to be an everyday car that doesn't replace any of the interesting classics which are at home, because those are the things I absolutely love to be in and drive and everything. But day to day for work, I need a car that'll do hundreds of miles a day, have really good air conditioning, ideally have cruise control, which bizarrely was missing from my old 250. Not on this one, it's got a speed limiter as well, which is quite handy. And be like a really comfortable everyday thing to live in the background. If you watch like Hoovie's Garage and that kind of stuff, he's always got like a Range Rover or a Mercedes estate that is his wife's car, which I think he uses as well day to day when he's not breaking down in a Ferrari. That is my Hoovie-mobile. That's not a broken thing. This is the thing that has to keep on working all the time. So when I started my investigation looking for a car, my hunt, all I really wanted was ULEZ compliant estate car. But once you start looking, and once I'd seen one that looked so much better because I had all the toys, then suddenly my wish list started growing. Once I realised I was having to finance something, well, adding another £1,000 or £2 on top of the price is only another tenner a month, so what the hell? Yeah, wise words indeed. I'm a great financial manager. So what we have here is basically all the toys. This is an AMG Premium Line Plus, which means you basically get everything in here. So we've got leather, the dark wood, which I absolutely love, the bigger screen, a proper little clock, which looks fantastic, Fortunately, I'm actually quite relieved on this one. We've got partially LED display. The other ones I saw, the later ones, have got a full LED. I really prefer actual needles, so that's quite good. Got the flat bottom sports steering wheel, which is really very nice indeed. The sports seats, which are very supportive. I just discovered a little glasses holder in the ceiling, which I'm in love with. This is possibly my favourite feature so far. We have got flappy paddle rubbish and dynamic mode stuff, which I'll be perfectly honest, I've just done about 100 miles in this car, and honestly that's just faff to fluff around with, and an actual gearbox is way more entertaining and more useful. Anyway, it's a beautiful interior. This is the thing, Mercedes and Audi really do sew up the interiors. If you're going to be in a car for a long time, this is what you want to be sitting in. We've got the Burmester premium sound, which I can say is absolutely fantastic. You can crank that up and really enjoy it, whether it's spoken word audible or the radio for music. Doesn't matter if it's any genre, it sounds amazing. I wasn't sure that was going to be worth it, but that is so much better than the radio in the old car. So in many respects it is a big improvement. Let's have a quick look around outside. I did find a really nice C250 manual in Birmingham as well actually, but it was the same shade of grey as my other one, and the wheels weren't particularly exciting, and it just looked a little bit boring. This one though is fully murdered out. Black interior, black paint, black tints. It's actually lowered, but it doesn't look that low, bizarrely. I think it's 15mm lower than standard, but it's got the 19-inch wheels, which someone has put winter tyres on 19s. That's a bold move, I have to say. As it's the AMG version, we have got the massive brakes with the Mercedes branded calipers and stuff, which is awesome. Fairly chunky brakes at the back. I think those brakes on the back are bigger than the brakes on the front of either my Alfa 145 or the 200 VI. Something I do love on these things is this kind of twist pattern, half chrome, half body colour on the door handles. Lovely touch. And on the front we've got the adaptive LED headlights, a little menu item I just found a few minutes ago. If you're driving on the continent, you can change it from left to right hand drive with just a menu entry. Amazing. Disappointingly, there doesn't seem to be a fog light option at all on this current generation. I can't seem to find it one little bit. So it's a good looking car. Will I fall in love with it? I don't know. Clearly someone spent some money on it because it's got Pirelli tyres all round apart from one, which is a Continental, so that's equally expensive. Perhaps a little bit too flash, it has got light up Mercedes-Benz in the door shuts. So this is a car that will be in the background of all the videos in the future. It'll be the one that does the heavy lifting of driving to and from shoots a lot of the time. I'll be honest, after the distance I've done in it, I think I actually prefer driving most of the classics to this thing. The automatic is incredibly smooth and very competent, and I'm probably one of the better ones. It's a 9-speed and it's 4-wheel drive, so that should make mountain roads and things feel really quite, safe and competent, especially in the slippery weather with those winter tyres on there. So driving over the holidays across the mountains will be fantastic. But I don't know, the fact I own an automatic, I just feel a little bit empty inside. Like I'm disappointed in myself. Kind of at this precise moment, if a tailgating Tesla decided to whack in the back of it at 60 and demolish it, I wouldn't feel too upset. Maybe it'll grow on me. I'll give it a few months. Fair enough, the automatic is fine in stop-start traffic, but every bit of country lane I've come to, not even driving fast and aggressively, just wanting to be a bit more involved, the paddles are not the same. Not the same at all. I can't help but feel I've made a bit of a mistake. So this will be in the background of the videos for the next couple of years, unless I get massively bored of it and change it in 6 months' time. We shall see how that goes. I'm already yearning for a Volvo V70 and I'm not even home yet. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I've loved the previous C250, so hopefully this will do its best to worm its way into our affections as well. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy. And yeah, let me know what you think. Have I made a terrible mistake?